At 9:14 in the evening on November 12, 2026, the surveillance monitors at the Taiwan Maritime Command Center in Kaohsiung flicker once and then transform into a wall of grey static. It is not a malfunction. It is a blinding. 300 miles to the southwest, the remote Pratas Island, known locally as Dongsha, vanishes from the digital grid. The air above the South China Sea instantly thickens with the screaming whine of high-spectrum electronic jamming, severing every satellite link and radio frequency in the region. The garrison of 500 Taiwanese Marines stationed on the atoll is suddenly alone in the dark, their pleas for support dissolving into the static. This is the moment the world has feared for decades. It is the opening move of a conflict that will redefine the century, but the first battle will not be fought by armies. It will be fought in the shadows. While the world's governments scramble to confirm the source of the blackout, a different kind of war machine is already in position. Beneath the turbulent surface of the Pacific, drifting silently in the freezing abyss, the USS Jimmy Carter has been waiting. A highly modified Seawolf-class submarine, the Carter is a ghost, designed for exactly this kind of surgical violence. Inside the hull, the air smells of recycled ozone and heavy tension. The captain watches the sonar waterfall display, a green cascade of silence that belies the chaos unfolding above. At 10:30 p.m., the order is given. The submarine floods its dry deck shelter, the massive hangar attached to its spine. Inside, the operators of SEAL Team 6 are already geared up, their faces illuminated by the red glow of tactical lights. They are not here to retake the island. That is a job for the carriers. Their mission is far more specific and infinitely more dangerous. They are here to extract 3 high-ranking Taiwanese intelligence officers carrying the encrypted defense codes for the main island's missile shield, assets that cannot fall into the hands of the People's Liberation Army. The team slips into the black water, their movements fluid and practiced. They mount the SDV, a silent submersible delivery vehicle that glides away from the mothership like a predator detaching from a larger beast. The journey to the shoreline is a claustrophobic nightmare of dark water and crushing pressure. As they breach the surface of the lagoon at 11:15 p.m., the reality of the invasion hits them. The night sky is choked with smoke. The smell of cordite and burning jet fuel hangs heavy over the water. Through their panoramic night vision goggles, the world is rendered in a crisp, ghostly white phosphorus. They see the shapes of amphibious assault vehicles grinding over the coral, the silhouettes of enemy troops establishing a perimeter. The SEALs move with terrifying efficiency, transitioning from the water to the sand without a sound. They are ghosts in a machine, bypassing patrols with a discipline that violates the natural instinct to flee. They reach the extraction point, a battered command bunker near the airfield, at 11:45 p.m. The door is breached with a small, directed charge that barely whispers. Inside, the officers are wounded, desperate, huddled around a self-destructing server rack. The team leader signals the egress. They have the package. But the grim reality of war is that plans rarely survive first contact. As they exit the bunker, the silence is shattered. A tripwire sensor, missed in the chaos, triggers a localized alarm. The sound is deafening. Instantly, the night erupts. Floodlights sweep the tarmac, slicing through the darkness. The crack of supersonic rounds snaps past the team, shredding the palm trees around them. The SEALs return fire, their suppressed carbines coughing rhythmically, dropping the first wave of responders with surgical precision. But the enemy is not just men. At 11:58 p.m., a low hum begins to vibrate in the air, growing. Louder until it rattles the teeth. The sky above the airfield darkens as a swarm of autonomous hunter-killer drones descends. They are loitering munitions, small, fast, and lethal. The team is pinned down. The surgical extraction has devolved into a desperate brawl for survival. The team leader screams into the comms, calling for immediate fire support, but the jamming is too thick. They are on their own. The drone swarm dives, exploding in rapid succession, turning the concrete cover into shrapnel. One operator goes down, his leg shredded by the blast. The team drags him, firing blindly into the sky. the green traces of the enemy cutting through the smoke. They are 200 meters from the water. It feels like miles. The drone swarm regroups for a second pass, a mechanical hive mind calculating the most efficient way to kill. This is the future of warfare, cold, calculated, and absolutely terrifying. Just as the swarm begins its dive, the ground beneath them shakes. The USS Jimmy Carter has broken protocol. The submarine has risen to periscope depth, risking detection to establish a line of sight uplink. The captain authorises the deployment of the submarine's own countermeasures, a cloud of electronic warfare buoys shot from the signal ejectors. The devices detonate in the air, creating an electromagnetic pulse that fries the delicate circuitry of the drone swarm. The sky rains plastic and metal. The SEALs sprint for the water, dragging their wounded and the high-value targets into the surf. They hit the water at 12:12 a.m., the cool embrace of the ocean offering the only cover left. But the escape is far from over. As they submerge, hooking back into the SDV, the water around them begins to thunder. The enemy knows they are there. Depth charges begin to fall, detonating, with concussive force that hammers against their chests. The Jimmy Carter is forced to maneuver, its massive screw churning the water as it tries to position itself for recovery without exposing its hull to anti-submarine helicopters now launching from the mainland. The recovery at 12:30 a.m. is frantic. The SDV docks with a metallic clang that reverberates through the hull. The airlock cycles. The team spills out, wet, bleeding, but alive. The submarine dives immediately, the deck tilting aggressively as it seeks the safety of the thermal layer. But the enemy is not done. At 1:15 a.m., the sonar operator screams a warning: high-velocity contacts, not torpedoes, something faster. Above the water, the PLA has launched a battery of DF-17 hypersonic glide vehicles. They are not aiming for the sub, they are aiming to sanitize the island, to destroy the evidence of the invasion and the failed extraction. The missiles impact the atoll with the force of tactical nukes, the shockwave penetrating deep into the water column. The submarine shudders violently, rivets popping, lights flickering and dying. For a moment, there is absolute darkness. The crew holds their breath in the crushing silence. Then the emergency lights bathe the control room in a blood-red glow. They are alive. They have the package. But as the submarine levels out, creeping away at 3 knots to minimize its acoustic signature, the sonar display lights up again. It is not the chaotic noise of explosions this time. It is something far worse. A single clear signal cuts through the water. It is the active ping of a Type 096 nuclear submarine, the most advanced predator in the Chinese Navy. It is hunting. The captain looks at the weapons officer. The tubes are loaded. The game of cat and mouse has escalated into a standoff that could end civilization. The SEALs in the lockout chamber look at each other, the adrenaline fading into a cold dread. They made it off the island, but they might not make it home. The geopolitical chessboard has been flipped. The rules of engagement are gone. The screen fades to black as a new sound begins to emerge, the distant, repetitive ping of an active sonar searching for a target.